Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. We have a great show lined up, but first, always the weather. What's going on outdoors? And because we're going to be doing some outdoor stuff as soon as this rain breaks. And right now, they're just calling for 20% today. Now, that's hard to believe, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, the water temperature is 84 degrees. High today, and air temperatures are going to be 86 and low 76. Take a look at our river readings brought to us by Sandhill Seafood up on Highway 77, just north of Bozeman. Good, fresh seafood. You can buy it, or you can sit there and eat some fresh seafood. The Appalachian Bluntstown, check it out, folks. 5.4, and it's falling out. You wouldn't think it'd be falling with all the rain we've had, but you know, it's all controlled by the locks up there. And basically, they haven't had that much rain up in South Georgia and all, as much as we've had here along the Panhandle coast and all. So, but on the Choctaw at Caryville, it's testimony to what we just said. It's still rising this morning. It's going to rise on up probably to Friday night. Right now, it's right at 8 foot. It may start dropping out Saturday morning. It looks like it might be a quick drop too. So, just you know, it's a daily thing on these rivers. So, I'm surprised Apalachicola is dropping out like that. Take a look at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn and Funeral Home and Cemetery right here on 23rd Street. We're looking at strong tide today. Looking at a high tide at 6:15 this morning, falling out fast. We're going to have outgoing tide all the way to 4:54, right around 5 o'clock. So all day long, we've got a strong falling tide, and then it's flipping over, start coming in. I know you flounder guys want an incoming tide tonight. I know you're going to be happy about that. A marine forecast will be coming out of west, straight out of west, on at about 5 to 10. So not a bad looking day today. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back with our special guest. Okay, welcome back, and welcome back to our first time guest on the show. This is bass fisherman extraordinaire, Kyle Pridgeon. Kyle,
Thanks,
how are you, buddy?
Good.
One of my former students way back in the class of 2008.
2008, yes,
and
sir.
Kept up with him. Tell folks what you do now.
I work for the state of Florida Beach Mosquito Control. Been there a little over 5 years. Lead technician there, and just enjoy my job.
So in other words, you're raising the mosquitoes and biting us and all.
That's right.
Well, that's another show. We're going to come back and talk about mosquitoes. Today we're going to talk about bass fishing, and I'll tell you why. I've known Kyle for a long time, even when he was a young man and all, and he keeps posting these pictures of these really big bass he's catching.
That's right.
And he's catching a lot of big bass, and I talked to him the other day. I said, you got to come on the show, and we're going to talk about it. And how long you been bass fishing?
I'd say since I was 8 years old, I guess, and I really got into it about 13, 14. I would take my bicycle, run to the next pond, and just hop off and fish and keep going.
Oh, that's a great start and all. And then when you got up into high school, just on Saturdays you were doing
Yeah, I started some local tournaments Saturdays and even the Tuesday night shootouts at Deer Point, and just after I won that first money, actually I think it was the first night I ever fished. It was a Tuesday night tournament. I think I won my money back, and ever since then I was hooked.
You were hooked, weren't you?
That's right.
Well, I know you fish all over, and you got like a 4 day. You do 410, so you got like a 3 day weekend.
Yeah.
So you do some serious fishing.
Oh yeah, I'm on the water at least 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you a few pictures. We're going to get through all of them in this first segment. Tell us about this first bass right here.
This first one I caught in the tournament on the river, Apalachicola. That was up near, we put in at the end of the road and ran up. That fish I actually caught at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a spinnerbait.
12 o'clock?
Yep, 12 o'clock.
And you know, most people,
right in the heat of the day.
That's what I'm saying. Yep. Most people are not going to be fishing that time of day. Salt water or fresh water. They're going to get them a can of Viennas and get in the shade. All right?
This was Lake Seminole at a big bass tournament. This fish went, I think it was 609. We actually ended up losing the tournament by 2 ounces.
Oh.
That was $10,000.
Oh, man.
That was a fun day there.
2 ounces?
Yep.
Okay. All right. That's 2 pretty fish.
Yeah, that's first place Deer Point back in, I believe that's July. That was last year's July tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those fish came in at 12 to 1 o'clock on top water. Heat of the day.
Middle of the day?
It was 98 degrees that day.
On top water?
Yes, sir, top water.
So, you know, we're going to talk to Kyle about this kind of stuff, and a lot of times you sort of do things different that other people don't do because, like you say, most people don't do that.
That's right.
And the fish, they're trained.
Yeah.
if they see that worm every
That's
morning
right.
at 8:30, they're not going to, you know.
Absolutely.
So this is a great experience. That's a pretty one.
That was Lake Gunnersville in a championship we had, our local team. I fished the Real Money Team Trail. West Moto does a great job running the trail. And we had our 2-day championship at Gunnersville. We ended up 14th. We won big fish both days, me and my partner Clinton Kelly. And that fish there was 565, and I caught it on top water in the middle of the day. So,
Well, you're giving away your secret now. All right, what about this one?
that's an Apalachicola River bass. That one was about 4.5. I caught that fish first thing in the morning on a buzz bait
In a
tournament.
That's old school there.
That's old school.
The versatility, okay.
That's right.
All right, all right, move on. Goodness gracious.
These were a couple from Martin Lake over by the paper mill, and this was I think into December, right? We had our first really cold snap, and the fish were really biting, and I was catching them on a rattle trap.
Oh.
Every cast 3 and 4 pounders.
No kidding. That had been exciting.
It was.
You talk about the weather. That cold snap was you were right ahead of the front, or just right when it hit?
Just right when it was hitting, and the bass were starting to feed up on the shad really good, and they were just crushing that rattle trap.
You know, we talk about that, folks, when that front's coming in right before. I mean, it's fresh water and salt water. They get excited.
They do.
So, yeah, I get excited.
Absolutely.
All right, what about
This was a Deer Point bass right at the end of March this year. Fishing just a 2 to 3 foot flat spawning area I found, and that one went right at 7 pounds.
And what time of year was this?
March of this year, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And there's some Deer Point fish there. That was in April, and I got on those fish probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, man.
I caught them all 3 back to back.
You viewers now, are you starting to get the drift about Kyle, about why I have him on the show talking about bass fishing? I just want to give you a little bit of background. Okay.
I went to Toledo Bend and caught that one. That was right at 7 pounds. I did a week fishing trip over there.
What'd you catch out on, you remember?
Carolina rig.
Carolina rig. So you're versatile in your different
yeah.
approaches. This is down at
That's White City.
White City, well,
Yeah.
I recognize
That was the project graduation tournament for Franklin County we fished. We came in 3rd place. I think we had right at 15 pounds. Me and Clinton Kelly fished that one.
Now, when you hit that landing there, where do you like to go roughly? I mean, you go upriver, down, or just go?
Upriver, and actually that day we ran 101 miles there and back.
Wow.
I hit the trip meter on the Lawrence, and that's how far we went to catch them fish.
Oh, my goodness.
So.
Let's see, we still got some more. That's a hunk right there.
That was a 9-pounder I caught on Memorial Day at Deer Point. A little after 9 o'clock in the morning on a frog, topwater frog.
This is a 9-pounder.
9-pounder.
From Deer Point Lake.
Deer Point Lake.
Folks, now, I don't know if you fish much, but now you don't do this very often. A 9-pounder at Deer Point Lake. This is not Lake Seminole or Lake Gunnersville. This is Deer Point Lake.
Deer Point Lake. They're in there.
Yeah. All right, this one?
That's the same one.
Oh, it's that same one?
Yeah.
Wow, nice. And then we're back to the beginning. Is that all of them?
Nope, there's one more.
Oh, yeah, right here? This
one was 972.
Wow.
I caught July 4th weekend, actually.
I was showing this to Gail last night. We talked what a classic, that's a framer. That picture
Yeah.
there with all that moss hanging.
That is.
You got to have that one framed and hang it up.
Absolutely, oh yeah.
We may hang it up in here. That's nice. Okay. Have we done that one yet?
There's some more from last weekend, actually.
Last weekend,
Yep.
okay. Just every weekend occurs. Now listen, we got all kind of lures he's going to show you. We're going to talk about some secrets of bass fishing. I just want to give you a background that this boy can catch some fish now. Okay, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, folks. Here with Kyle Pridgeon, bass fisherman extraordinaire. You know, a lot of times I do my outlines on the show, have all kind of notes. This is just blank right here because I knew Kyle and I were just going to talk about bass fishing.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about conditions. Let's talk about river conditions first because you fish a lot of river fishing.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I normally like between 7 and 8 foot and falling. A nice steady drop I like, and the fish will get them active and feeding. If that river's rising, you might as well stay home because they're going to be hard to catch.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, and then we're talking about when they close it, the dam at Jim Woodruff. It's about About 2 days?
Yeah, it takes about 2 days for it to reach the lower end. Lower end, I give, the Brothers area down to Howard's Creek area down in there. And now that area is affected by tide, so you'll need to watch your tides. I love an outgoing tide down there in the Brothers area. You can really load the boat down there.
Yeah, and a lot of folks don't realize that tidal effect. We've talked about it before. It really is. A lot of times the river's going down, but it's actually going up at the same time when it comes to tide. So you see that a lot, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
All right, let's talk about some of these secret weapons you have. Okay.
This is probably one of this is an old Bangalore Bagley Spintail. It's a balsa wood bait.
It's been hit a couple of times.
It's been hit a few times. And my friend that fishes the Elite Series, Drew Benton, he's actually sponsored by Bagley. And he's had a real good year. But this bait, it's an all-around great topwater bait.
And you like that color.
And it's hard. That bait's hard to beat anywhere. Take it anywhere and catch fish on it.
That silver flash and the black color, and that's a replication of the bait.
It is, yes sir, it is. And I'll give you a little tip here. There's this red hook on the front. This red hook, I wouldn't say it necessarily draws the bass's attention, but what it does, it gives them something to focus on. And when they eat this bait, they're eating it front first, and you got these other 2 treble hooks to get in and get them. So if you think about it, this front hook gets them in the mouth. They got 6 other hooks to potentially get them in too, so you better hook up.
That's interesting. Good point right there.
Here's another topwater bait. This is a Vixen. This is kind of a Zara Spook walking the dog bait.
Okay.
This is a great bait, and I've really been catching them this time of year. Late in the afternoon, early in the morning bait. It's really, really good.
That's got to be exciting when they jump, when they pop that
awesome.
right there.
It is, and that's a bluegill color there, and they'll annihilate it.
Oh, cool.
Here's another topwater bait. Get that off of there. This is actually, I just came on board with these guys. They actually put me on their pro staff team. It's a Black Label tackle. Actually, the Bassmaster Classic champion, Cliff Pace, hand paints and designs these out of balsa wood himself, and this is a prop bait in a bull brim color.
No kidding.
Yeah, and this is a great bait during spawning season. The bass really, any kind of bluegill, they'll be there still in their eggs, and this is a great surface bait early in the morning to throw over their bait. And another tip is, we live here in the South, and our lakes are just infested with grass. So you want to, these baits, are almost $20. You want to throw them on braided line. You don't want to lose these baits. So when you're throwing your braided line, you'll notice on these prop baits, this line will sometimes get tangled around these spinners here. What I've done an experiment with is I'll sometimes take a bobber stopper and put it here, or even a small piece of tubing like a coffee straw and peg it, and that'll keep that line from eliminating going around there.
Oh, good idea.
Yep.
Good idea. And so you use a lot of braided line?
Yes, sir. Yeah, fluorocarbon braided line's about all I use. And I'll switch over to some swim jigs here. This is a Nichols lure swim jig. This is great for a shad spawn or just getting a good reaction bite, throwing it through some grass on top or some lily pads. And I keep this one tied on at all times.
Oh, that's a good looking one. I like the white color. You're always going to have good luck on white color.
Absolutely. And this is another flipping jig, 1/2 ounce. This is a Booyah jig, trailered with a Big Bite Baits Fighting Frog, green pumpkin. When it's sunny out, I really enjoy throwing that bait there. It's just puts off that watermelon red, puts off a nice flash.
I know the folks up at Big Bite Bait Company. They're good outdoors.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And good fishermen. In fact, they they're going to come on the show up there around South Alabama. Up there.
They do. They make some great baits.
Big Bite.
Yep. Absolutely. And going back to the river down there, the main forage and what I really stress on when I'm fishing is matching the hatch. The main what they're feeding on down there, the bass, is crawfish. If you can match the hatch, you're really going to get some more bites. And I take a lot of pride in my jigs, and I try to make my own jigs and skirts and match them just right. And this is a brown jig just imitating a crawfish, and you can see I've got the pinchers a little dipped in orange there. And
so you did a little bit of that, you customized it?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's a good idea. Crawfish.
Yes, sir.
It's hard to beat crawfish.
All right, and I'll go with a spinner bait here.
Old spinner.
This is a War Eagle spinner bait. I really enjoy a spinner bait.
Big blade too, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Big blade, and I always run a trailer hook. just to make sure you get that extra
When
short
do you,
strike.
When do you like to fish the spinners and all?
I really like spinner bait when it's windy, choppy on the water, get them blades flashing. Even a little overcast, windy and overcast is a great time to throw that bait.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Good point there.
And right now, if you go down to Lake Wimico and you tie you on a June bug speed worm and you find you some eelgrass, you will catch bass. They may not be very big, but you will catch 40 or 50 a day.
No kidding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you go, folks.
And right now they are biting down there.
At Wimico.
Yes, sir.
With that color right there.
Just throw you a 1/8 ounce or 1/4 ounce weight on there and just start throwing it and reeling it.
You heard it right here on Panhandle Outdoors with bass fisherman Kyle Pridgeon.
And here's another bait. I thought about it and I was like, well, I'm gonna bring this on the show. And you know, this is
like a tarpon bait.
That's right. This is a big bait. This is a 7-inch Bastrix swim bait. I actually bought these when I fished Gunnersville, but I recently just started throwing them here. You know, I wanted to experiment, and just don't be afraid to experiment, especially bass fishing. You know, a two-pound bass will eat a 7-inch bait all day long, and you know, you got a good chance of catching a big bass throwing that big bait. And just don't be afraid and throw it, and you will be surprised.
That is fascinating when that big. The old timers never want to fish with that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, now that looks familiar.
Yeah, this is actually a Black Label Tackle crankbait too, balsa wood. This is square bill. Another, you know, matching the hatch. Talking about them crawfish, and if you look on there, that bait that's a pretty bait there.
Wow.
And
you
that,
know,
that will catch them.
I marvel at these new baits, and a lot of times they're not exact replicas, but they're similar to what some of the old fishing tackle that we had many years ago. That reminds me of old pumpkin seed that I had and put out years ago.
That's right.
I mean, same kind of shape and all, and so that's fascinating. Let's take our final break. We'll come back with more bass fishing tips with Kyle. All right, welcome back. Here with Kyle Pridgeon, one of my former students who's doing well with bass fishing, as you can see, and works at beach mosquito control.
Beach mosquito control.
Okay,
yes,
and he raises up mosquitoes, but we'll come back on the show and talk about that later. But anyway, let's look at fishing game times today from Blue Water Outriggers. We're looking at 9:05 to 11:05 this morning, and this evening 9:34 to 11:34. Kyle, I always ask my guests, what's your feelings on feeding times?
Absolutely. I want to be in my best area at that feeding time. I call it the juice area.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially if the moon's straight up or straight under too, I really pay attention to that kind of stuff. I believe it'll help you catch more fish too if you do.
Good point. Good point. I say you're fishing this weekend where?
We'll be at the end of the road at Apalachicola River.
Okay, end of the road, and weigh-ins around 3?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. That's when most weigh-ins are. Say, let's talk about your go-to bait really quick. Say it's 1:30 in the afternoon, and you know you gotta come. You only got a few minutes left of fishing. And you gotta go. What's your go-to bait?
I would probably say a jig. It's versatile. It doesn't have a water temperature to control it.
Okay.
Swim it, flip it, pitch it, drag it on the bottom, and it's a very versatile bait. And if you don't have one in your box, I highly suggest you start getting some jigs.
Okay. Good point there. Now, also season, you know, you got summer, you got spring, winter, fall. How does that affect your fishing? What do you like to do in different seasons?
It does. I really enjoy the wintertime, actually, because it's not 100 degrees outside.
Yeah. I know you caught some big fish at 98 degrees.
Yeah, I have to. What it does in the wintertime, the fish will really gang up in the creeks, in the mouth of the creeks, and you can really catch them. You can get them on a crankbait. You know, I enjoy it. But also, you know, any time of the year, really, as long as I'm on the water fishing, I enjoy it.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Okay, you got some more stuff in your box there?
Yeah, this is my hollow body frog bait, and you know, when you guys, you know, we spend a lot of money on our frogs. You know, these range from $8 to $15 a piece.
Do they really?
Yes, sir. And just a little tip I had for some of you guys that may, you know, when you're out there fishing all day and you're throwing a bait, especially this frog with these legs on here, they'll dry out and stick together. And you know, this is a $12 frog here. You don't want to just have to throw them away and keep going buying them. So what I did is start taking some baby powder and sprinkle it in your box, and it absorbs any moisture or water in there.
So that's baby powder?
Yes, sir.
It's not mildew. A lot of y'all thought that's mildew, but it's baby powder,
That's
folks.
baby powder.
That's a good idea.
Yes, sir.
That's all frogs.
That is all topwater frogs. Yes, sir.
You don't have room for any more now.
No.
You got a tackle box full.
It's pretty full.
And when you like, I'm partial to frogs. So the biggest bass I ever caught was topwater frog with Blair Morgan many years ago.
Yeah.
When do you like to fish your frogs?
I have it all tied on all times of year. I really like it. If I'm fishing heavy vegetation, you know, I like a popping frog or a surface frog, something to really draw their attention. But it's tied on all time of year. And in fact, that 9-pounder I caught at Deer Point was right at 10 o'clock on a frog.
On a frog?
Yep, on a frog.
There you go. I may get back in bass fishing and talk to you, man. This sounds exciting. I'm serious. Now, when you're fishing with your partner and all, y'all communicate a lot? Do you throw one area and he's throwing another area?
Yeah. Like I said, Clinton Kelly's my partner. We've been fishing for, I guess, about 6 years now. And we've got a system when you're fishing with somebody, you know, we know our strengths. We know each other's strengths, and we know how to pick each other up if we're having a bad time. And we're really good. We both have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we try to help one another on that.
That's a great attitude about that too. And like you say, you communicate and lifting each other up.
Absolutely.
is so important.
That is.
Okay, you got people. Okay, I got a minute or two left. What kind of your best advice to give to potential bass fishermen, young fishermen, just want to learn how to bass fish? What would you tell them?
Just you know, you don't need to go get all these fancy baits at once, and it can get very expensive. You know, I've got 30-something rod and reels. You don't need all that. You know, people tell me all the time you don't need that. Just do your own thing, you know, and research. And I'll tell you, the more time you spend on the water, the better fisherman you will be. And just do your own thing. You'll be a better fisherman.
And he's got a master's degree in bass fishing. I can tell you right now, he's working on a doctoral degree soon. Be Dr. Kyle. He'll come out with a lure. Okay, well, Kyle, we really appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir.
And you keep us posted on when you catch these big bass. We're
Absolutely.
Gonna show them and when I say there's Kyle Pridgeon, y'all know who we're talking about now.
Right.
What kind of boat y'all run?
I got a 2017 Triton TRX 20 with a 250 Mercury Pro XS.
Okay, and now when you all fishing daylight till the crack of day?
Daylight till dark, yes, sir. I try, like I said, I'm out on the water 3, 4, maybe 5 times a week.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
The more time I'm on the water, the more I learn, and I still am surprised of how much I learned just from a year ago being on the water that much.
What a great attitude! You always keep learning.
Yes, sir.
You always keep learning, especially in outdoor activities. Kyle, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
Good luck this weekend.
Right. Thank you.
All right, Kyle Pridgeon, folks, and we always appreciate it. I always like to have our best kind of outdoorsmen coming on the show, giving you their advice and all. So thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. You have a great day today. Do something good for your fellow man, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.